What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 126 of the Chumpcast. This week, we get our creative juices flowing with a game of movie pitches, call everyone doo-doo butt, and review the latest movie that Christian Bale got super fat for, Adam McKay's Vice. You can find us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can also call or text us at 847-920-6107. If you leave us a good enough message, you might hear yourself on a future episode. If you'd like to support the show, you can find our merch at thechumpcast.com. We always appreciate kind reviews, subscriptions, and ratings on Apple Podcasts. You can also shop on Amazon through our affiliate link at thechumpcast.com/Amazon. New this week, check out patreon.com/thechumpcast for all sorts of bonus content and more goodies. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to meet my guy, Doo-Doo Butt, for a special delivery. So we're going to get the creative juices flowing, because it's a little earlier in the day. Mark is still half asleep.
I'm dying.
But we're playing a card game called Pitch Storm, where you draft 3 cards, either plots or characters for movies, and you pitch to our executive, which in this case is the lovely drunk Erica from Drunk Movie Studios. And at the end, after all 3 of us has pitched, she chooses her favorite,
which will be mine.
All right, Mr. Smithers, welcome to Drunk Studio. Please pitch your movie to us.
Please stop yelling at me. It's only noon. Why are you so drunk? My movie stars a noble barbarian from a distant land, played by none other than Chris Tucker. But the twist on this is that he must finish this dangerous supernatural board game to survive. Think Jumanji, but way bigger and better. The other twist is Chris Tucker, being a barbarian, has no idea what a board game is.
That's great, but what if everything you just said so far was just a flashback before the main story?
That's funny you should mention that, because this is actually a prequel to the Rush Hour trilogy. Jackie Chan plays the angel on his shoulder, and also evil Jackie Chan plays the devil on his other shoulder. How did you know that was coming?
Lucky guess. Thank you, Mr. Smithers.
Pretty good.
Mark, going in a circle.
So the movie starts with our main character, Jack Black. He burns his tongue so bad that he dies. His ghost levitates off of his body, but he doesn't know he's really dead, and he's just super confused at the whole thing that just took place of him dying from a burnt tongue.
What if the whole plot was centered around a huge chess tournament?
I was getting to that. So Jack Black, just confused being a ghost right now, doesn't really care. He needs to get ready for this chess tournament that he's been training for the last 18 years. And by the way, he's 19 years old. So pretty much all of his life. Jack Black is training with none other than Morgan Freeman, his predecessor and his teacher. So Morgan Freeman says, "Jack, do you know you're dead?" And Jack says, "No, I'm back."
That's great.
Wow.
Thank you, Mark.
And then Back in Black plays. Bow, credits.
That was so good.
Jesus.
Okay, well,
it's just infinitely amplified by the fact that you're so hungover.
It's so bad.
Doesn't matter. Both of those movie pitches are moot point, because I have one that I've stored in the books for quite some time. You ready for this one?
I'm ready for this.
We open in on a man getting his left leg severed off. Just cut. Brutal. Blood spilling everywhere. Dr. Mantis Toboggan, a surgeon with a fake medical degree, struggles to raise his family in the Wild West. So he is giving fake diagnoses. He's diagnosing fake illnesses and just cutting off limbs to people in the West to make a living.
You're off to a great start, but how can we tie in the Harry Potter franchise?
After a while, he makes a potion based off of severed limbs, blood from people, and a tumbleweed. Turns out that's a magic potion of Avada Kedavra that brings back people from the dead. It's a reverse of the actual spell of Avada Kedavra. And Harry Potter comes in and realizes that Dr. Mantis Toboggan is a piece of shit. And my title, also, this is obviously played by Danny DeVito. The wife is Julia Roberts, obviously. And the working title is Dr. Toboggan.
Wow, that's an atrocity.
Excellent. Rye, what is your title?
Well, my barbarian is actually Prussian, and since this is a prequel to Rush Hour, it's actually Prush Hour.
Wow.
Little play on words. I don't know if you got that.
Yeah, I understood it. Thank you. Go get me some coffee. Mark.
Checkmate.
Oh, good.
That's fucking terrible.
Dr. Toboggan. Okay, wow. You guys have given me a lot to think about.
Like why I got into this business in the first place.
Right. I think the winner has to be Brick because he incorporated Harry Potter into his movie. So
you gave him Harry Potter to incorporate
that.
That's what I'm talking about. Magical, all fronts, amazing. Dr. Toboggan coming to theaters in this summer.
Coming to theaters never, because
okay,
no one
I do
would
have
ever
one
buy
other
that.
thing. So the card I was going to give, the twist I was going to give to Mark was let's cast a star and have them die in the first act. Except Mark made his character die immediately, and I was like, what?
You make him die again. Because the Ghostbusters show up.
He already knew. That's exactly where he was going to go.
Great. Now we can go live. That was only a moderate train wreck.
Yeah, not bad. It was only 5 minutes, too.
Getting better at thinking on our feet.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, definitely not Mark, but that's fine. Speaking of which, thank you for showing up like an hour late. 2 hours late, I'm sorry.
Bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
It is bullshit, Mike.
Why were you so late? And you realize that you can no longer put it on, like my alcoholism is not ruining the show.
I had the worst morning of all time. I was super hungover.
Because you couldn't find your keys?
By the way, we were going to record. I wanted to record at 9, but that was before I knew I was going to be super hungover this morning. And yes, I lost my keys, which is probably the worst thing that could ever happen to someone when they're hungover is losing something and then getting stressed over it. So yeah, my morning was ultimately the most terrible thing of all time.
Preemptive worst man alive. Mark Auska.
I'll take that.
We have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is we didn't end up making the bet last week, but your Bears really shit the bed.
They did shit the bed.
And I'm reopening that wound. Brick, you were perfectly cordial about this all season. You weren't talking shit the entire time, unlike Mark, who would not shut up about how the Bears were going to win the Super Bowl, forgetting that they had the worst kicker in the league.
He needs some milk.
That was awful. I had a little bit of schadenfreude. I wasn't really like texting people and being like, "Oh, you idiots."
It happens
because I know what that's like. I always reference Erica.
Thanks, Drunk Erica.
Walking out of the room right now. When the Packers lost to the Seahawks in the NFC Championship a few years back, and they just absolutely blew it in overtime. Erica walks in and tells me it's just a game. Because that's the most helpful thing that you can possibly tell someone who is absolutely heartbroken.
That is not one of my prouder moments, and I did apologize to you many times.
It's just a game.
Would that have made you feel better on Sunday?
Let's not talk about it.
Everybody was talking to me like I was happy that they lost. There is nothing to look forward to in Chicago now until at least May.
Yeah. We should have won the Super Bowl. So what should have happened?
I don't agree with that. I think they're better than a first round exit.
You know, if Mark would have sent that picture of Cody Parkey standing next to Adam Vinatieri on the sidelines a week before Cody Parkey kicked, I would have had a little bit more confidence in him. And now I realize that Vinatieri just botched it just as bad this week. He had 2 doinks on his freaking...
Vinatieri did yesterday, right?
Yeah, he had 2 pretty bad kicks. They were extra points. They were like the closest of all time. He also has the grayest beard ever, too.
He does.
He's also 59, so...
He looks like a White Walker.
Yeah.
He does.
From Game of Thrones. Get out of here.
Don't you have
mean-ass movie executive.
Don't you have bigger things to do?
Yeah. See, the thing about Vinatieri, though, is that he's made clutch kicks, and he's a Hall of Famer, probably.
Yeah, he's definitely made his...
Yeah, Cody Parkey, not so much. I can't believe that he actually showed up on the Today Show this week, or what was it, Good Morning America, or some shit like that.
You watched it?
No, but I listened to, like, local sports talk radio.
Mm-hmm.
That took some balls, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like nobody wanted to fucking see you on that show.
No.
You didn't have a
It's
big
too soon.
overcoming story. Everybody still hates you.
Can't do it.
Mark, you're surprisingly quiet about this.
Not much you can really
I
say
talked about it for the last week.
Yeah,
at
this
work.
we got to be over it.
It's the worst. Going into work and that's all people talk about is that game. My God, was just terrible. Yeah, I fucking know, Jeff. I know.
Calling them out by name. All right, so we had some listener submissions this week from our dumb question, which was, what is the best movie cameo or your favorite movie cameo? So we had some pretty good submissions here from a few people that are in the stream, actually. I see Krisky here, All Day BK on Insta, says Neil Patrick Harris in Harold and Kumar.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody that represents themselves as super wholesome, which he does, you know, like in real life, he's got kids and he's always doing like Broadway shows and shit. But in this, he's a full-on degenerate.
That's a great casting for that.
Musa 1348. Now, this is something that I had to cut in here because it's too perfect.
Oh my God.
Sir, could I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? It helps put me to sleep.
You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up. Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Perfect.
Oh, your fingers hurt. Your fingers hurt.
No, your back's going to hurt.
Because you just pulled
You can-
landscaping duty.
You can go to sleep or I'm going to put you to sleep is a great line. And TJ, actually, that's a great call out, by the way.
I looked at the clip for that, and it's pretty hilarious because he just calls somebody a dumbass. Brett Favre walks out. So he's like, what are you doing in town? He's like, I'm in town to play the Dolphins, dumbass.
Amazing.
In his super hick accent. It's pretty hilarious.
Something About Mary is quietly hilarious.
I don't think that's so quiet. It's probably one of the funniest movies of the last 30 years.
Wow.
You don't think so?
No, I don't not think so, but I think it's, I don't know.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room, by the way, is that Brick is too good to sit with us on the couches now.
I know. What the hell?
Power chair. I like
At least he's not creepily standing up and just
that was worse.
walking back and forth.
to be perched like a gargoyle.
Yeah. Ben, our friend who we meet at C2E2 every year on Facebook, says David Bowie and Zoolander. This was my submission from last week. Rest in peace. Cinephile community, Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, magical again.
Yeah.
Somebody who represents himself as super wholesome and like a nice guy.
Tom Cruise had two amazing cameos. Austin Powers, that was an awesome cameo.
It was.
True.
Not
Forgot
as
about
good
that.
as the Danny DeVito entry, but
Yeah, I forgot Danny DeVito does that cameo in that movie too.
the other thing about that is, like we said last week, this is the only time where he's not super handsome, saving the world, not throwing orgies for everybody.
Yeah.
He would do well to do more of that. My buddy Brown Bear, Digital Chef 35, says Matt Damon in Thor Ragnarok.
That was what sparked the whole conversation, in my opinion. I saw that clip randomly, just like on the internet, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Matt Damon's actually hilariously in this movie.
So I don't know if we're going to count this, but Earthworm Zach on Instagram says Howard the Duck in Guardians of the Galaxy. Is that really it's Seth Green who does the voice, but you don't really see him. I don't know. We counting that?
No.
Need
to be seen. No voices.
Brick has ruled. Okay, well, Fluffy Fox Photography on Insta, one of our old friends, has also said Brett Favre and Something About Mary. So
yeah, that's awesome.
When we initially started talking about this, that never would have come to mind.
It should have, because that was a great cameo, but surprisingly it didn't.
What ones do you guys think of off the bat?
Definitely David Bowie.
Yeah.
The Austin Powers Gold Member intro is just chock full of them.
Yeah, no, mine was actually Ben Stiller from The Pick of Destiny, like I said the last week, where he's the record store owner and he takes some Jack Black and Kyle Gass in the back like closet and talks about the Pick of Destiny with a little lighter, and he just like
What about Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers?
That is, oh no, that's not the gift that we use. We use Tom Cruise, but yeah, that was also way up there. What an idiot. That's what I sent you this morning when you're like, oh, I can't find my key.
Meatloaf!
he died in a hang gliding accident. What an idiot.
No, it's one a lot of people forget about. 21 Jump Street when Johnny Depp reveals himself.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Remember that shit?
And yeah, Brad Pitt in Deadpool 2.
True, even though you don't even see him.
Yeah, you do. When he gets
Like a
electrocuted.
split second.
Yeah.
That is a cameo.
Oh,
right?
I'm not arguing. It's definitely a cameo. What about this one, though? JJ says Cam Neely as Seabass in Dumb and Dumber. So I have gone my whole life without knowing that Cam Neely is a hockey player. and he's been in a bunch of Farrelly Brothers movies.
Mhm.
I had no fucking idea. Did you guys know this?
No.
No idea.
No clue. And one more, Ryan on Facebook says Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross. This one's kind of funny because if you think of that movie, this is the only scene that anybody really remembers.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a cameo.
He's not really in the movie all that much. Like they bring him in kind of as this mercenary figure to be like either sell or you're fired. So
Close that shit.
yeah, I'd say that's a cameo.
Yeah, that teeters on the edge. Because like, how many lines does it take you to be just actually a cast member?
I don't know that it's lines. It's more screen time because he has. I mean, that's one of the most well-known dialogues.
Yes.
ABC always be closing.
TJ says Entourage, the Entourage movie, Clay Matthews and Gronk. I forgot they were in that.
That entire movie is just a bunch of cameos. That's it.
It's Entourage.
All right, what are we doing next week? I have two options here. The movie is Glass. So I got to thinking about it, and I thought, what is an innocuous, surefire indicator that someone is a complete psychopath?
Okay, that's a pretty good one.
I was thinking about this because everybody was talking about Patrick Mahomes and how he puts ketchup on literally everything.
Oh,
What a psychopath. He doesn't deserve a Super Bowl.
so I went to the AMC Dine-In Theater by myself, of course, and I'm sitting next to a guy.
Cool guy
He
move.
gets his burger with fries, and he just takes the ketchup and just does this over the fries. Psychopath.
So did he have a fork at least?
No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, don't shake that guy's hand ever. That's disgusting.
I'm like, dude, just squirt a bunch in just the corner of your tray. Don't do that.
That guy is a savage in a bad way.
He's not a savage. He's a psychopath.
What about people who don't cuss, like ever?
Philip Rivers doesn't cuss. Brian Dawkins doesn't cuss. I'm fine with that.
First of all, Philip Rivers is definitely a psychopath. He has like 9 kids. He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to turn around and look at you and tell you that you're wrong, but yeah.
That's why I did this position.
Put a mirror right there.
I'm just going to hang it on the ceiling so I can see Brick. So what do you guys think of that question? Is
I like
decent?
that. Or what's also like, what's the worst superpower to ever have? Because these guys are just psychos, but they also kind of like, I haven't seen Unbreakable, but he kind of has super strength, right?
Well, why don't you watch the movie, then we'll talk about
you
that.
need to go watch Unbreakable.
You definitely need to see that before you go watch this.
I do.
Did you see
I love
Split?
Yes, I
Okay.
love
I'm
Split.
Mary Reynolds. I'm Mary Reynolds. That's going to be me in the theater when I watch this.
Great. I'm not going to see
Not
this
going in
with
to see it with you either. Good thing you go to movies alone.
And everybody will know it's you because you'll be sitting in the handicap seat.
No, they'll think it's Mary Reynolds.
No.
At least then they'll think he's actually handicapped.
Sorry, guys, that wasn't me. That was Mary Reynolds.
Great.
So what do you say? What's the line again?
I'm Mary Reynolds.
So yeah,
How
they're
did you
gonna
forget
think
that
this.
line?
They're gonna think this guy is just an autistic kid in the actual handicap seats. I am Mary Reynolds.
I totally forgot I pulled this clip up.
Hey, assholes!
Danny DeVito, mini me. Yeah.
Right over here! A mini-me! Come and get me!
Dude,
The best part is he's just got an assault rifle.
How tall is he?
I don't know, but they definitely made him look shorter for that, which is hilarious.
News to us.
So I sent you guys a few trailers this week. You didn't watch either of them, did you? I can tell by the stupid ass look on your face, the shit-eating grin.
What a piece of shit.
Brick, you didn't watch them either, did you?
I watched the Game of Thrones. I didn't see Polar though.
Polar looks great, and they're actually showing commercials for this on like cable television, which it's a Netflix movie starring Mads Mikkelsen. He's a retired hitman, gets dragged back into the biz, kind of like John Wick, but this is going to be a little bit more over the top, not so grounded in reality, I think. Once again, there's something wrong with his eye, because that's Mads Mikkelsen's thing.
Does
I
he
guess.
have something wrong with his eye, though, in real life?
No, not at all. Part of this, he has 2 regular eyes, and then all of a sudden, they cut to a scene where he's wearing an eye patch.
What Marvel movie was he in? Guardians?
No, Strange.
It's
Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Where he's, what do we call him? Chrysilius, because he's whining the whole time. Yeah, I don't understand this.
Wow. Oh, so he's Drago from. No, he's not. What the fuck?
What are you talking about?
I'm looking him up right now. He's
Mads Mikkelsen was in the.
He's in James Bond movie.
Yeah,
right?
he had something.
He's
wrong with his
Casino
eye there.
Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the Diamond Eyes dude.
Okay.
So fucking
Yeah,
stupid.
very dumb. But he was also what's his face in The Thing, the Silence of the Lambs TV show.
Hannibal?
He was Hannibal in Hannibal.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's probably the only time that he didn't have something wrong with his eyes.
He was in Rogue One.
Sort of. Oh, damn! Chargers in the end zone. What's up, Keenan Allen?
Let's fucking go, Keenan Allen. Let's fucking go.
So I also saw Johnny Knoxville in this trailer. Vanessa Hudgens, who I know Brick loves.
Love Vanessa Hudgens.
And do you guys know Matt Lucas, the short, fat,
He's
bald British comedian?
He's the complement of the guy from, oh my God, I can't believe, Shaun of the Dead, right?
Nick Frost?
That's Nick Frost.
Yeah, that's
Nope.
not even close to it. You got
said
fat
short-
British guy, right?
You said short, fat British guy. Yeah, that's. I was like, oh, I definitely know that guy. Thought
Yeah,
his name was
not
Matt.
him. But this is coming to Netflix on January 25th. I'm pretty in for this. Maybe if there's nothing else coming out this week, because I know January, February are usually kind of slow. Maybe we'll do an episode on this. Brick, you can actually contribute to this. We got our first very brief look at both the Watchmen TV show and the final season of Game of Thrones. I want to start with Watchmen here. Do you care about this at all?
I really enjoyed the Watchmen series, or I'm sorry, the movie. It was long, but I think with HBO's going to do it, it's going to be dark. It's going to be
I mean, the source material is dark.
exactly.
And they said this is not going to be like they're going to pull from that universe, but it's not going to be a retelling, which I think is good.
Good.
It's Damon Lindelof who did Lost and Leftovers, so I'm pretty confident in the showrunner. I don't know. They showed Rorschach, who is one of the most important characters because he's just a full-on psycho. Probably doesn't cuss.
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
Right.
He's
So
a
they
badass.
show him, and he looks broke as shit. Like he just like somebody sharpied over a big sock, and they pulled it over his face.
Damn.
The effect in the movie was so much cooler because it's actually changing and
Moving
stuff.
shit. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll do better with it, but
I
we'll
loved.
see.
I loved his mask when he was in the actual movie.
So for anybody who wants to kind of delve into this a little bit, the movie is on Netflix right now, and it's not the director's cut. I think the director's cut is better, but it's like 3.5 hours long.
As long as
Yeah,
shit.
it's a Snyder movie, so I don't know. All right, Game of Thrones. Brick, say what you got to say.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
I want to hear your takes.
I am just ready for this thing to release. The HBO's producer or HBO's like executive saw it and lost his marbles over it. Apparently, who the hell isn't pumped for Game of Thrones? I mean, we already kind of what they showed us in the trailer was literally just what we knew what was going to happen, right?
False.
I mean, they just showed us Khaleesi meeting up with Sansa at
We didn't know that.
Winterfell. How do you,
You
not
obviously
assume
saw
that's
that
gonna?
coming.
You can assume, but they just confirmed that they meet up.
That's like the easiest thing to confirm. Is like,
Yeah, that's
oh yeah,
probably
they're
like
going to the wall, or they were at the wall, and now they got to go to the castle that's the closest place to the wall because the wall is basically fucking destroyed
That probably happens episode 1, like first 20 minutes.
immediately. They're not giving anything. They're keeping that close to the chest, and I think that's what I'm happy about. What Game of Thrones is doing. That's just the way they do it. You know, they want Red Wedding everywhere. They need to recreate that, and this is the time they can do it because half the book readers actually knew what was happening in that series. At this point, nobody knows what the fuck's happening.
How many times did you rewatch this, like just looking for little clues?
Again, you guys know I'm a preview guy. I do not watch previews very often, but I had to check this one out.
Obviously.
I didn't do.
So you're
as
not
much.
a preview guy.
I am the opposite of a preview guy.
He's a review guy.
Yes,
Ideas man, if you will.
exactly.
We got another trailer for a movie called Velvet Buzzsaw, also coming to Netflix. Netflix is killing it right now. But this one's promising because it's also getting a limited theatrical release, which Netflix really only does for movies they want to get award consideration.
Mhm.
And they think they can get some more money on this. This is Jake Gyllenhaal. The trailer for this takes a huge unforeseen turn. Totally wasn't expecting it because they shift it tonally 180 degrees. He's an art critic who stumbles across this fart critic. Yeah. He stumbles across this dead dude's art. Like somebody brings him some paintings. This guy that died, they were cleaning out his apartment. Everybody loves it. And he's selling these for so much money, except maybe the paintings are haunted.
Ooh,
And that's the big twist that happens in the middle of the trailer. They did it really well. It seems so much better than me explaining it, obviously. But
obviously.
So he's basically just giving everyone that buys that a painting a death sentence, pretty much.
that's what it looks like. But in this, we're also getting Toni Collette, who we gushed over in Hereditary
Yeah.
as the mom. John Malkovich is in it. Renee Russo. This is coming February 1st. So this is going to be another one that's on our radar. And I got to balance this out with a bad-looking Netflix movie.
Wait. So Velvet Buzzsaw. Is anybody going to get their legs chopped off with a buzzsaw? Is there going to be a buzzsaw murder in there?
I don't understand the name. So I guess we'll see.
Okay.
Last movie preview Anthony Mackie coming January 18th. This movie looks way less intriguing. It's called Io. Most of humanity left Earth for, I think it's one of Jupiter's moons called Io. This looks bad. It's like post-apocalyptic. Looks like you can't breathe the Earth's atmosphere, and it's Anthony Mackie, and he finds somehow the only other person on Earth. I have very low expectations for this.
He finds the only other person from Earth
who's still on Earth. He's still on Earth.
Oh,
so everybody else is gone.
Does it look cool at least?
Not really.
I was gonna say, well, I'm a sucker for space movies, but it's not even in space; it's in Earth. So
yeah, not even getting there. It's more lower budget Netflix stuff.
Okay.
So,
I've never really been sold on Anthony Mackie either. He's been fine.
Well, we talked to E-Man about this, and he said that he doesn't think Anthony Mackie has the charisma to carry a full
feature film.
It was right after they announced that he's going to be the lead in season 2 of Altered Carbon. We talked about that, and E-Man said, I don't know if he can pull this on his own. So I guess
don't they have
that's a pretty good point.
Yeah, don't they have a show based off of the superhero he played as well in Marvel coming to?
No, that has not been announced yet. You're talking about
what are the Marvel shows? Scarlet Witch and
Loki. They just announced Lady Sif, which is one of Thor's, I don't know, friends, I guess, from Asgard. Okay. But yeah, there's no Anthony Mackie spinoff coming.
Okay, cool.
So that's the trailers. I wanted to take a minute to congratulate the only Golden Globe winner that matters, Into the Spider-Verse, that won for Best Animated Picture. We don't have to gush over this again, but I feel like if there's one movie you need to see out of last year, it's probably this one.
In 3D.
I was getting ready to just chuck my remote at the TV if it didn't win.
There's no way it's not going to win the Oscar, right?
I know.
It has
I hope not.
If it doesn't, it's because Incredibles 2 wins, and it's because Disney bought the award.
That movie wasn't that great.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, Incredibles 2 was really good.
Great.
Yeah. It wasn't as good as the first one. It wasn't as good as Into the Spider-Verse, but I mean, it was
a good flick.
Yeah, it wouldn't be ridiculous.
Speaking of animated movies, for next week, maybe this will be my recommendation. I want to see Super Nerd Alert, but the DBZ Super Brawly movie comes
Broly.
out.
You always say Brawly.
Brawly. There's just
one
the
L.
Chicago in me.
Brawly.
Brawly.
Cody Parker.
I know it's Broly, but I can't say Broly. Like that.
You
hurts
are literally
when I say
saying it right now.
It hurts me though when I say Broly.
Say his name one more time.
Brawly.
AKA doo-doo butt.
We'll get to that one later. It also came out, New York Times casually dropped that this is probably going to be spun off into animated TV shows. We don't know we're getting sequels. We're going to get a Spider-Gwen movie.
I'm pissed about that.
Because they're just going to beat it into the ground.
I love the concept of it. It's great. But this is what happened with Marvel last time with the Netflix shows. It's like, yeah, they're fine, but I think oversaturating the market isn't going to be good for this. I think sometimes less is more.
We're going to find out. Speaking of oversaturation, I'm kidding. The next DC animated flick is going to be Superman Red Son.
That's going to be sweet.
So to me, at the top of the mountain, obviously, is Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then right below that is DC Animated. Then below that is actual DC live action. Then below that is Marvel Animated.
That's fair.
Wait, where? But Marvel Animated is Into the Spider-Verse, isn't it?
No.
Oh, that's Sony.
That's Sony.
Ooh, where does Sony play into that?
Considering they've only made one movie, probably not in the conversation.
Probably right at the top. Because their movie has been the best, right?
No, it's not. Well,
they had Venom.
Yeah, but they don't count.
We're
not counting those. Let's not sully the list here. But Superman Red Son. This is an Elseworld story from DC.
Give me a quick
Mark,
rundown.
have you read this, or do you want me to?
I haven't read it. Go ahead.
So basically, Superman, when he comes to Earth, instead of landing in Kansas, he lands in Russia. Hence, Red Son. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like a Russian superpower instead of like the Force or the symbol of American pride, like apple pie, Superman, whatever. So it's a really interesting story. I think it's well done. Tangentially,
what the fuck, dude? That's a great word.
I can't imagine paying for another year of DC Universe, considering that every time there's a comic that I want to read from DC, I go on there and it's not on there. If you announce that Superman Red Son is going to be your next animated movie, why would you not have that on your library?
That's pathetic.
You're sure it's not on there?
I searched for it for like 10 minutes. Could not find it. So I read Swamp Thing instead. But are you disappointed in DC Universe?
No.
Shill.
DC guy.
No, but I'll say that because I really like Titans.
It's coming to Netflix this month.
But they had. I'm not as focused on the comics because I still like to buy my comics and read them physically in my hand. But the shows they have on there, they have all the Batman, the animated series on there. They have everything you want. TV shows, movies.
They don't have everything you want. You just said you wanted the
obviously
Superman.
not.
Besides the comics. And I'm saying I don't really care about the comics as probably much as Smithers does, but it is what it is.
Well, I'm very excited to see this movie. I love most DC animated stuff. And actually, Drunk Erica does too, which I would never have expected.
That is surprising to me.
So,
Yeah, Danny, my man's. Thought that was you. Wasn't sure.
I wonder if they're going to do a Batman Red Son animated film.
what? That doesn't make any sense.
There's a Earth 30 version of Batman as Red Son. His parents are gunned down by Stalin.
I've
Stalin's
never even heard of
soldiers.
that. Wow,
Yeah.
that's unreal.
So
Okay,
is
His
Superman gonna-
parents died, dude.
his parents die all the time.
So is Russia gonna like weaponize this Superman?
That's
and
basically
fight America.
what the story is. Yeah. And obviously, I don't know if this is going to stick strictly to the comics, but usually they're pretty loyal to the source material, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Very loyal with their animated films. Like The Dark Knight Returns was spot on pretty much to the comic book.
Damn, dude. Speaking of the Dark Knight, I was talking to my friend about doing something, and the first thing that came to my mind was being a psycho. Just like that one line that the Joker has: "If you do something well, don't do it for free," or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to put a pencil in somebody's face. Anyway,
Okay.
go ahead.
Thanks, Brick.
Last week, we talked about Bandersnatch on Netflix, the Choose Your Own Adventure movie. Now they're being sued by Choose Co., which reminds me a lot of Cusco for some reason. From
Cusco's the man, yeah,
Emperor's
from
New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove.
Mark, you just, I think maybe, like, you know what I'm saying, you're understanding it, you just have the look on your face permanently that you have no idea what's going on around you
No,
right now.
this is actually.
I'm so hungover right now. It's fucking
I told you to have a fucking
outrageous.
beer.
No. I'm doing a Pepsi and this is making it worse.
Yeah, Pepsi, you're just like carbonating your stupid brain.
Yeah, you got to get hair of the dog that bit you.
Gotta
No, I'm
get,
listening.
yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Dude, no, this is actual bullshit that they were in talks with this company, right?
Yes.
And then they're like, actually, we can't come to an agreement, so fuck it, we're going to do it anyway.
So you're saying Netflix is the dick in this?
Netflix is the dick in this. ChooseCo. Who the fuck has heard of ChooseCo? Netflix, you're making so many movies.
You know why Brick is leaning towards that? Because he's an ideas man. He doesn't care about the execution.
And he's mad
Who
that
had the
nobody's-
idea first?
Nobody's paying him.
Yeah.
fucking right.
You can't copyright a method of storytelling. It doesn't work that way. It's like copywriting math formulas.
I agree.
It doesn't. You can't do that.
Okay, but at the same time, you come up with an idea and then pitch it to Netflix, and then you think your idea is worth this much. And they're like, actually,
They probably just weren't executing on it, and Netflix has strict deadlines, and they probably need some shit out immediately. And they're like, fine, we'll fucking take that, and we'll fucking put it out.
When's the last time anyone read a choose your own adventure book?
Goosebumps when I was like in fucking 6th grade.
Okay. So if you've been sitting on this property for 20 years and doing nothing with it, so they're suing for $25 million, which means that Netflix probably offered them like 10, and they were like, or they just dragged their feet and did get a deal done. So now obviously they're going to come in
They
and say
get nothing.
they probably won't, but even if they did, it doesn't matter because Netflix is a multi-billion-dollar company.
Mhm.
Speaking of which,
They'll be fine.
Yes, talk about this.
that $25 million definitely isn't going to matter once Netflix fully stops account sharing via artificial intelligence on their inevitable route to the creation of Skynet.
You probably have a couple 100 million people scared out of their fucking shit pants right now. At
They
the
need
fact
to pay
that
$12 a month
at
to
the
get
fact that
Netflix.
they may no longer be able to use their best friend's account.
Isn't that ridiculous too? Like everybody's talking about market saturation and Netflix is just like, we're not worried because we can just make people actually pay that use it. So, I mean, I don't use somebody else's account, but
Ooh, big baller over here.
Erica pays for it actually, but we live in the same house, so that doesn't really count.
So you are using someone else's
What
account.
percentage of Netflix memberships do you think are actually
25%.
Actually
by the
paid
user?
for?
Yeah.
One person gives their account to at least one other person, and then that person always gives
Like
it to
out
one
of the
other person.
total amount of people that can via Netflix, what
I think it's
percentage do you think
probably
actually pay for the
about
subscription?
85%.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's that high?
I
I
do.
think it's like 52%.
I think it's very rare. If we took a poll, do you pay for your Netflix or does somebody else pay for your Netflix? You're going to get a 40-60 ratio max.
Call up Jimmy. I want to know.
Okay.
They've got to have numbers on this.
And he's going to be like, wait, by the way, are you paying for Netflix? Because I know you watch Netflix. And I'm like, just like, what?
I got to go, Jimmy.
See you, Jimmy.
See you at the family reunion. Click.
That's the news for the week.
Best.
Best.
We the best!
Worst.
The worst! She's the worst person in the world. Huge skank, terrible, but thank you.
Mark, would you like to kick this off?
Sure. There was a lady in Wichita Falls, Texas, who was riding around in an electric cart outside of Walmart, drinking a bottle of wine out of a Pringles can. Best lady alive.
Fucking right, dude.
Why do you know this? Was
It
she
a
arrested?
news story.
He saw her.
They tried to arrest her, but then they realized it was
For what,
outside of a
being
Walmart,
awesome?
and you can't be any more trashy than just like Walmart. So they were like, all right, do whatever you got to do.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to jump in here because I have a few of these.
Hold on,
It
stop.
appears that a 21-year-old
Have you ever gone to the Walmart over here?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's the worst Walmart of all time. Go
Mhm.
on.
Okay. Thanks for interjecting.
I
with
just
that.
don't. I didn't want you walking in that Walmart and just being like, "What the fuck is?"
No,
going
I've been
on?
there.
Baltimore man, known by the alias Doodoo Butt, was arrested for a road rage-style shooting. Baltimore police say on October 13th they were called to Old Frederick Avenue where they found a 20-year-old man suffering from gunshot wounds. Ward, a.k.a. Doodoo Butt, was wanted for first-degree murder and was arrested in Pennsylvania on a Maryland warrant. No word on it.
Is this going to be a new segment for us? Is like doo-doo of the week? Because we had DD Mega Doo-doo not that long ago.
That's
and now we
insane.
have Doo-doo Butt.
There's so much doo-doo butt.
And now every time we talk about something, I can just play this drop.
A.k.a. Doodoo Butt.
I think we might have just stumbled ass backwards into a little doo-doo segment.
I don't know. It's like Mark
A.k.a. Doodoo Butt.
was 2 hours late again today.
But can you imagine being the guy who was shot like in the middle of the street and then like the cops come?
Doo-doo Butt.
The cops come and you're like,
It was Doo-doo Butt.
they cradle like the guy's head and he's like bleeding out and like get closer and he's like, who did this to you? Who did this to you? And he's like, that was doo-doo butt.
Imagine like whatever, a family member or somebody you know gets killed, and they're like, "Well, who did it?" You're like, "Doo-doo butt."
And it's not like they're not calling him like it was some doo-doo butt.
Doo-doo butt shot my best friend.
They didn't have to say his fucking stupid nickname at all. They could have just gave his fucking name, right?
No, you have to. You got to say his nickname.
How many more views because the guy's name is Doo-doo butt?
Yeah.
Does this video now
This
get?
is just branding.
Yeah.
Not only for the news station, but for this guy.
They're going to continue to do coverage on this guy.
I mean, if he's
doo-doo butt strikes again.
If he's a known felon, then like, yeah, who are you going to buy your drugs from? Some random guy named Frank or Doo-doo Butt? You're going to Doo-doo Butt.
I'm gonna head doo-doo.
All right, Brick, you got one for me?
I have a best and a worst. So to start out, I'll go best man alive because I respect the fuck out of this hustle. David Spargo.
A.k.a. Doodoo Butt.
He's not doo-doo butt. He's smart.
You're going to beat that into the ground.
I know. It already has been beaten into the ground. I've heard it a million times. David Spargo, he lives in Australia. Big fan of this Australian electropop band. He was going to the show. What he decided to do was edit their Wikipedia page to let them know that he was part of their actual family. And he went to the security guards in the back of the show, showed him the Wikipedia page, was really able to get backstage to this concert in the green room, shared a beer with the actual performers, the artists, and now quietly they love him because that's hilarious. What a hustle.
That is pretty impressive. I respect that just because it's creative. And yeah, you're just hustling the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, like the security guard's like, well, this Wikipedia seems pretty legit, but that wouldn't fly. That wouldn't fly in America.
What did
right?
the excerpt say out of Wikipedia? Like, what did he write about himself?
Was he like cousin
No.
or uncle or?
The only thing I saw was that he was like related to them he's part of the family.
Hey, I respect that hustle.
That's amazing.
Okay, I got another one here. Pollyanna Viana, who beat the absolute shit out of a dude who tried to rob her in Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, she is a female UFC fighter. And this dude walks up with a piece of cardboard that's shaped like a gun and points it at her and tries to rob her. Yeah, she's a bad target, and she beat the living daylights out of this dude. And the pictures are worth way more than I could ever describe. Google this. Pollyanna Viana, or just UFC fighter beats the shit out of robber. There are probably a dozen or so of these stories, and they're always worth the read because that's just sweet, sweet justice.
Yeah.
No, that is amazing.
I have one more worst man alive because this just makes me uncomfortable.
Weird way to ring in the new year. A home security system caught a man on camera licking a doorbell in Salinas. Police say Roberto Daniel Arroyo spent 3 hours licking and poking around the yard. The homeowners, they were out of town, but their kids were home and they didn't hear anything. It was only when the surveillance system notified the family that there was movement outside that they saw the bizarre behavior and they called police. Officers are still looking for Arroyo, who will likely face misdemeanor charges.
Nope, that's a felony. Get this dude off the streets. He should not be out there licking somebody's doorbell for 3 hours. That shit is wrong.
He's got way too much time on his hands.
No, he's got way good drugs because there's nothing else that would make a man do that for that long.
Yeah.
Are bath salts back? Is that what that story means?
It's crocodile.
Think about like the dirtiest things you could be licking and never get washed. Like a door handle is fine, but like
that's a good question.
A doorbell is like fucking gross.
The question of the week?
I like hotel remote control.
That things that you think are clean that never actually get
in a
cleaned.
hotel.
Yeah, pretty much like hotel floor. These microphones probably.
Which is everywhere. All right, so I will have one more worst man alive or person alive or worst society alive, which is 2019.
I'm not going to play the doo-doo butt drop.
I knew. I saw you. That's why I paused.
I'm not going to do it.
For giving shit to Bryan Cranston for playing a person in a wheelchair. That's fucking ridiculous. It's called acting, people. He's acting.
What they actually wanted somebody that was like
apparently they think that he's like doing it an injustice for like.
Find me a single person in a wheelchair who can act as well as Bryan Cranston.
Exactly. It's fucking acting. Let the guy act.
But he should have at least like method act. You should have like
break his legs.
He should have like jumped off a second story balcony at least.
Think about this. In 1997, a man pretended to be crippled in order to get an executive bathroom. That man was George Costanza, and it was hilarious. Don't fucking give me this bullshit in 2019 that Bryan Cranston, an actor, can't play a role where the guy has no working legs. That's just bullshit.
No, I'm with you on this one. That's
dumbest thing ever.
That's a whole lot of best/worst people alive.
We kind of botched it the last couple of weeks. We came pretty hard this week.
We did. I appreciate you guys actually doing research this time around. We're going to start our movie review on Vice. So we were originally going to see Replicas this week, and I can just add another worst person alive is my movie theater, because one of their projectors just broke, and this ticket that I bought to go see Keanu Reeves didn't work. So I went to see Vice instead.
Did you get like a refund for that?
Yeah, they did. I'll give them credit for that. That was nice. But still, how does a projector just break?
Yeah, no, I guess things just break naturally.
That's dumb.
At the same time, I had the same thing happen to me in Into the Spider-Verse when the 3D was off. So I was like, am I just like super late and my eyes haven't adjusted, or is this just shitty? And nope, they restarted the whole thing. Gave us a free movie ticket. So I was fine with rewatching more Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really cost them anything, but still. Yeah, anyways, Vice.
Bogey.
62% on Rotten Tomatoes, 54% from fans.
I think this movie is going to be one of those polarizing because it's a political thriller. And not thriller, but it's a political...
It's a political story. It's a biopic, really. But,
yeah, true.
So this is written, directed, and produced by Adam McKay. If you don't know that name, you should, because he's done a lot of the stuff that you think is the best and the worst. I really love a lot of his writing. Some of it's flat out terrible. There's really not a lot of middle ground for him. So... For instance, he wrote, directed, and produced Anchorman, but he also wrote, directed, and produced Anchorman 2.
Oh,
okay.
He did Talladega Nights and The Other Guys, which are both awesome. But he also did Tammy with Melissa McCarthy falling over and complaining about being fat.
That was the worst.
And Get Hard with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart.
There were some funny moments in there.
Yeah, I lean on the side of being a fan of Adam McKay, mostly because he did one of my favorite movies ever, which is The Big Short. It's an adaptation, granted, from a novel, but still, it's perfectly
that
done.
movie.
It's an amazing movie, and you and I, as finance nerds, probably appreciate it more than we should.
Credit
the
default
director,
swaps.
the whole point of that is taking that and making it real, like taking their vision and putting it to the big screen. That's, you know what I mean? Even though it was a
it's
novel
adapting a
adaptation.
screenplay, but then actually having to direct the people to make it. So if you're not familiar with The Big Short, it's the adaptation of the book that tells the story of the guys who got really, really, really rich by shorting during the subprime lending crisis in like 08. Actually, it was 07 really, and then into 08 when everything crashed.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Q4 of 08 was the worst quarter of the Great Recession.
I thought this was a review on Vice.
Well, there's one other thing. I
just want to talk about.
I
want
to talk about Adam McKay just for one other thing. He's talking about working on a Silver Surfer movie. I'm all in on the idea of a Silver Surfer movie. I want to see Norrin Radd on the big screen. I can't decide if he's the right person to do it. It's not his first foray into superhero movies. He took over after Edgar Wright bailed on Ant-Man. He was partial writer with like Peyton Reed and a bunch of other people on that. Usually when he's writing something, it's with Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty helpful.
Or Will Ferrell's in the movie. I don't want to see Will Ferrell as the Silver Surfer.
No.
He's not the Herald of Galactus. I don't think that he's the right guy for this. So
now that you say that, I do want to see Will Ferrell as the Silver Surfer.
Wait, are you saying McKay or Will Ferrell?
McKay is he wants to write a Silver Surfer movie.
Okay.
And generally when he writes something, Will Ferrell is in it.
Yeah.
The first movie he ever did where Will Ferrell wasn't in it was The Big Short.
What if Will Ferrell got like jacked though for a role?
Do you think that's possible?
I don't.
How
think
old
so.
is he?
He's
I don't
pretty
know.
old.
He could just call up Stallone and be like, "Yo, Sly, what do you got for me?
Yeah.
What kind of juice you got for me?"
Or The Rock. Just be like, yo, help me out.
The Rock actually works though. So this movie, obviously, this is sort of a biopic on Dick Cheney, who's already one of the most reviled people on the planet. I don't really know what else to say about that. We don't generally get political here, and I don't know that we will necessarily on this, but it's hard to avoid it completely. So keep your fucking opinions to yourself. Let's try to stick to the actual story, plot, acting, etc. as well. So I kick this off with standard questions. Mark, what was the level of jackness of Dick Cheney, and was the murder enough for you, considering there's real life murder?
Christian Bale got so fat for this. Holy shit.
Yeah, he was actually looked like fatter than Dick Cheney actually is.
It. I have no idea.
He said this is the last time he's going to do that.
Like going, even in his past, like Machinist to Batman Begins.
He got fat for that American Hustle movie too.
Yeah. Not as fat as he did for this.
No, he's way fatter here.
Like he was fat. Like to where his back started hunching over. Like he had the neck fat.
Yeah.
Too. I'm like, holy shit.
It was bad.
How fun do you think it is to just get super fat?
That's so fat.
Just do nothing.
Trust me, I know from experience, it's a lot of fun.
Just eating donuts and whatever you want. He's gonna have long-term health problems.
I'm actually really interested in knowing what he was eating.
I bet there's somebody did an interview to figure this out. I'm sure of it.
They gave him the bars from Mean Girls that make you have a fat ass.
He honestly was probably taking like malnourishment meal replacement shakes.
Probably.
And drinking a couple of those a day.
What's the one from South Park? Beefcake 9000 or something like that?
It is Beefcake 9000.
Yeah, that's probably what he was eating. What about the murder? Was it good enough for you? Or like the gore and showing a heart transplant?
Oh,
that was pretty weird, right?
That, yeah. I don't like that shit. Cadaver type stuff. No.
It was pretty graphic, but I thought what they did with the quick cuts in the movie, showing the decision that Cheney made, quickly cutting to like the bombings in Cambodia and like the actual repercussions of their decisions in the White House. Usually you don't really see, they did it like where they narrated over seeing the bombings, and they only showed children and people, and they kind of, I think they brought you in well.
A lot of the times it seemed like it was just a bunch of nonsense. He was probably just like throwing that screaming monkey right now. Just like,
I thought it was kind of all over the place to that point. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I was as big of a fan of it as you were, Brick. Adam McKay uses these narrative devices to more deeply tell a story. If you think The Big Short, Margot Robbie is in a bathtub explaining credit default swaps.
Mm-hmm.
That was better, and not just because pervy reasons, but because I don't know, it was like an attention grabber, and it's so out of place, and they leaned back on the same narrative device several times as opposed to this, which it just felt like he's trying to get cute with it.
Mm. What do you think about the rolling credits halfway through the movie?
I just didn't think it was necessary.
I know. It's not
I agreed because
funny,
they went way over the top with it too, as in like he goes back to his home and now he's out of politics forever and he's raised award-winning golden retrievers and he runs what are those megathons all the time, ultra marathons. Yeah, Iron Man. It was just like, okay, come on.
The best part of this movie has to be the acting, right?
Yes, and I think Steve Carell did a really good job.
I thought Amy Adams did awesome.
She was great. She you don't hear a lot about Lynn Cheney in the general media, or at least you don't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just missed that part of it while this was actually going on. But Christian Bale is a centerpiece of this, and not just because he put on a shitload of weight. He does a very good acting job in this.
He really carried, like he embodied the speak softly but carry a big stick like kind of mentality.
The funniest parts of this movie are the multiple occasions on which he has a heart attack and he's just casually like, I need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like,
I love the scenes where he's just in bed, like sitting upright kind of and just talking, especially when
because you can see his neck rolls
when he gets the phone call and he's just like, yep. I'm just like, all right.
And then all of a sudden he's the vice president. Yeah, I don't know. It's just some of the. It's hard to think like this is Batman. This is the dude who got jacked to play Batman.
Yeah.
And they're polar opposites. It's so weird. And he did get recognition at the Golden Globes last weekend for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical, I think is the category, which is very stupid.
That's random.
But he has to win the Oscar for this. It's going to be down to basically him or Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, and it has to be Christian Bale.
It will be Rami Malek.
I would not like that.
Okay, so what did you guys think of Sam Rockwell as Bush?
I wanted more. He's excellent.
I love Sam Rockwell. He's almost up there with Ben Foster with me.
He's in there for what, like 6-7 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Total, you think?
No, a little longer.
He's a little longer than that. I mean, there was a 2-hour and 12-minute movie. He was definitely in there for like 20 minutes.
It didn't feel that way. And that's part of my other complaint about this is that they focused so much on his early backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what people care about. I don't care about him and Lynn early in their relationship and him getting drunk. And I just don't give a shit. That's not what people came to see. People came to see more on the backgrounds on Halliburton and the no-bid contracts and shit like that.
Iraq War and stuff, too.
They gloss over 9/11. How do you do that?
And they open up with it, too. I'm like, okay, this is going to get good. I think that was one of my main problems is it caught me. I was really genuinely interested for the first act, and then it kind of fell off for me.
To your point earlier, though, Amy Adams deserves recognition for Best Supporting Actress in this.
Yeah.
She was excellent.
I agree. I agree with you, though. The second act was a bit of a drag.
Mm-hmm.
What about Jesse Plemons?
I enjoyed his role because I was wondering throughout the entire movie, how does he fit into this movie?
So we won't spoil it, but if you see him, he teases very early on, oh, well, we're kind of related. Speaking about him and Dick Cheney.
Opens it up for a lot of interpretation.
It does, and it does pay off in the end. Brick and I, before the show started, I was going to say you did some research, but I was basically doing the research. We couldn't find anything to corroborate that actually happened.
What happened?
The whole Jesse Plemons being related to him in this. The how. I feel like you are just...
He missed... Well, no, we very vaguely explained that. When we get into spoilers, we can...
I don't think we're going to spoil this. Just because it's kind of a biopic.
You can't really spoil it. The only spoiler would be, I guess.
Wait, I don't get what there was to research.
The reveal in the movie.
Okay.
You know what that is. That did not happen.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We don't know. No, we don't know if it happened or not. I think it's a very
long shot. That's the actual true story.
No, he did. So I can't say anything without spoiling it. So
let's just move on.
Yep.
We also had Tyler Perry in this as Colin Powell.
Super surprised.
Well, hold on. Let's go back to that because it is important in the fact that they give Cheney a lot of shit in the movie because they say he calls it his heart and doesn't recognize.
That's actually true.
Okay.
So everybody knows that.
But did it happen from a tragic accident like that?
I don't know. Nobody
just don't know.
Okay. We also don't know if it's from a veteran.
So we are just going to spoil it. Okay. Yeah, you don't know that he has come out and said like this isn't somebody else's heart. The heart is my new heart. So he's just a complete sociopath. Doesn't give a shit about anybody else. But
someone gives you. What if someone gives you like a beer, you're not going to say, "Oh, thanks for your beer." You're like, "No, thanks. This is my beer."
You would think you would at least be
acknowledge
thankful
it
for it.
Yeah, no.
Thank you for sharing your beer with
Usually
me.
when
Yeah,
you
but
receive someone else's organs, you'll like go see their family, thank them, say how much it means to you.
That makes sense. Yeah.
He didn't feel like
he didn't do any of that. He didn't do any of that.
No.
Do we not know?
So in college, our friend Cameron died in a tragic accident. I have met the guy that has his heart, and he's like around the family. He's incredibly grateful, like a normal person would
No,
be.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's yeah. So he's a psycho. What about the other narrative devices that they use, like the weird stuff?
Like how they explained the power dynamics at the restaurant. Like, and then we have a tasteful Guantanamo Bay over here where we have very loose rules where it's kind of inside of the United States, but it's also not, so we can kind of do some interrogating. Or,
and you
know,
do whatever you want.
And they explained it, and then Carell's like, "Oh, that sounds delicious," and just like,
yeah, I wasn't a fan of any of those, especially the Shakespeare one. They basically go into a Shakespeare dialogue for like 4 minutes.
That was so.
I thought that was a great scene. I really like that.
I think, like you said about Adam McKay earlier, it's 100% hit or miss, or there's like nothing in between. Kind of like early on in the movie when they talk about how Dick Cheney's best abilities are to make something sound absolutely ridiculous, but turn it into something that's like they can actually do. And
it's an intelligent plot point, but still, I don't know. It's just the way that he does it and being jumbled all over the place. You had a cut scene in here of Galactus from Marvel Comics for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't understand the reference points that he was aiming for here, and I think that kind of fell flat, especially compared to Big Short.
You think he was trying too much? Like you said, he was getting too cute?
Yeah.
What do you think about like the grainy historical film and the way they like shot it? Because when they showed the 2000 election and they had like really grainy film, honestly, Rockwell looked exactly like Bush when they did the grainy film, which I thought was kind of cool, but randomly they just like threw that in randomly. And I don't know. What do you think about like the filming, the way they kind of filmed it?
I think it's better to do it that way instead of having to cut back and directly say this was back in 2003.
Okay. Yeah, I liked it too.
I think it's an easier way than doing that. It's the viewer infers that instead of them having to imply it.
Okay. And then one thing that I thought they did well to a certain extent was kind of humanize Dick Cheney in a point, only through his relationship with his daughters, though.
Yeah.
I thought the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, then but I thought
that's true though. Forever he wouldn't speak on gay marriage. He has a gay daughter, for anybody that doesn't know. And he would not at all go on the Republican side of things and say, I'm against gay marriage because he loved his daughter. Right up until his other daughter was trying to get into the Senate, and then he had to push her to completely admonish it. And
well, that exactly humanized him, because in that...
Up until the point that it doesn't.
Wait, so he... No, but that made me disappointed in like his sister. Or in her sister.
Yeah, but he was the one that was advising her campaign.
He told her to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was not the case. I thought he was disappointed in his daughter for that. But that does change everything.
I don't know. It's just, when it comes down to it, Dick Cheney,
a.k.a. Doo-Doo Butt,
just a bad guy. I don't think that's a shocker to anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a shocker.
I would be interested to find out how much of this movie is actually true, and we'll never know.
I know.
They openly say that in the movie.
Yeah.
Adam McKay takes some liberties.
Yeah.
That's what you do in a biopic.
But at the same time, Sacha Baron Cohen did have him sign his waterboarding kit, which
And he
is
was happy to do
hilarious.
it.
So happy to do it.
I don't know. Do you think Dick Cheney went to see this?
Probably.
He probably has to, right? Like, you got to know
What do
what
you think
people are
he's
saying
doing
about
right now?
Probably drinking young people's blood
Jesus
on a
Christ.
pile of money.
Possibly.
Naked.
That was the other thing, though, about this movie is that they don't go nearly in depth enough into the no bid contracts and the money that he got for that, for basically warmongering and running Halliburton and the oil that was up for grabs. It's a fucked up story. And if you're going to tell this story and shit all over the guy, go
Include that.
Go all in, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what you worry he's going to sue you for defamation? Like, you already shit all over the guy's life.
Okay.
Great. Final thoughts? Rate it.
Stream it.
Brick?
If you like politics and the story interests you, stream it. If you don't like politics, just skip it.
All right. So what do you say? Are you stream it or skip it for the post?
For the post,
what's your recommendation?
Skip it.
I say stream it. It's not worth going to see in the theater.
Nope.
Especially not in 3D.
I'm super surprised you're saying skip it. I thought you.
I thought you were
the movie the most out of all of us.
Same.
I liked what he did with it, but I don't think that I would necessarily want to see it.
Do you want to go back?
If I didn't have to review it, I wouldn't have seen it.
This will definitely be one of those that gets a lot of Oscar consideration. So a lot of people who do the, I have
Hollywood.
to watch the contenders, they'll go see it.
Sniffing. Yep.
That wraps up our movie review. Let's do our weekly recommendations. Mark, do you want to recommend something?
Yeah, I do. Netflix, the series is called 7 Days Out. I've watched a few episodes. One of them I watched the other day was about the League of Legends tournaments, the gaming tournaments they have. And it's pretty insane overall if you don't really understand what the title is. Yeah, it's 7 days out of the biggest events. So there's one on like the Derby. There's one of this League of Legends gaming tournament. There's one for a dog show. But
I've seen previews for this. I haven't watched it.
The gaming tournaments, they held one in China and they said it was combined bigger than the World Series and NBA Finals, the attendance.
I believe that.
Was there. Insane.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool getting some insight into what goes on.
I was most interested in the dog show episode.
Did you watch it?
No, I haven't yet, but
I haven't seen that one yet, but I'll go watch it.
All right, Brick, do you have something?
Yeah, we're going to go with a game review here. We played it earlier in the show. It's called Pitch Storm. It's a party game of amazing/horrible movie ideas. And you basically go around. It's a fun, interactive, creative game that you just kind of shoot the shit with your friends and just kind of make up ideas. It's pretty fun. Pitch Storm.
Very nice.
Get hammered before you play it. And
get hammered.
We recorded a round of this earlier. We'll throw it up on the Patreon later this week.
Yeah.
Boom.
I have a couple of recommendations for other things that I've done this week. I wrote for our friends over at glitchup.com. We're looking at previews for what we're anticipating most in 2019. I won't give any spoilers, but I think I went a little bit off of the well-beaten track on this. Mm-hmm. You agree? Did you actually read it? Or
That's good.
Okay. So check out glitchup.com for my recommendations for 2019. I also joined our old friends at Chuckload of Comics. Thank you, Chuck, Shauna, and Ralph for having me. That episode should actually be coming up today, Sunday. Chuckload of Comics is a YouTube show where we talk nerd stuff. He comes out every Sunday with a new episode, so be sure to check him out. Come see him at C2E2. He'll be at the booth. We'll be hanging out with them for sure. Do you have dates on C2E2? What is that? The March 22nd?
I think that's right.
Okay.
I think.
So we'll see everybody there. Do you want to plug the Patreon?
I do.
Can you do it?
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to leave anyone out, though. I want to make sure I have everyone here. Thank you to everyone who has signed up for our Patreon page. You can go and check out that page at patreon.com/thechumpcast. I want to give a special thanks to everyone that is now a patron. And that is Darian, Gabe, Colin, Matt, Nicole, and Lauren Burketto. So we really appreciate it. If you guys would like to sign up, you can go ahead and do that. We're going to be having some exclusive stuff posted on there.
We're working on more content for that. We'll start putting a lot of that up this week, like I said earlier, with the Pitch Storm game, I guess you would call it. Mm-hmm. You'll see a lot of that, a lot of stupid memes and whatnot. You can get on our Discord channel, which we'll be picking up quite a bit, I would assume, here sometime. If you want to talk to us directly, it's basically like a text chat. So,
and if you're not too happy with the Discord channel, that is Brick's sole responsibility of the Chumpcast, and basically we'll see how that pans out.
Great. Thanks for joining episode 126 of the Chumpcast. As always, you can find us on social media at the Chumpcast. You can also call or text us at 847-920-6107. Until next time.
Chump time, motherfucker.